A very good day to my miss. My name is Divya, daughter of Supaya, and my ID number is 2450014 for BLE, and I'm from batch 7A1. Today I'm here to present my part in this case, which is first introduction to the case. This case is important because it deals with a dispute under the Construction Industry Payment and Adjudication Act or CIPAA. The core issues was whether an adjudicator had the right to decide a case based on a contract clause that wasn't even mentioned in the original claim. This raised serious concerns about fairness and the limits of power in legal proceedings. Second part, which is the parties involved in this case. In this case, Anas Construction was the contractor, and the JKP Sindaran Berhad was the employer who hired them to build a high-rise apartment. During the project, Anas hired consultants and paid for their services, but JKB did not reimburse the cost. This led to a legal claim for over 855,000 under CIPAA.
Hi Miss, I'm Preeta from class 7A1. My ID number is 2450013. Today I would like to present about the facts of the case in Hana's Construction Sunjayan Berhad versus the JKP Sunjayan Berhad. This case involves a legal dispute between Hana's Construction Sunjayan Berhad, a private construction company, and JKP Sunjayan Berhad, a government-linked company involved in a public housing development. Anas Construction was awarded a contract to carry out a residential project under agreed terms. These terms including deadlines, payments, schedules, provision, and variation orders and dispute resolution mechanisms. Since JKP is a government-linked company, the case involved not just contract law, but also administration considerations, especially in terms of fairness and accountability. During the project, several problems arose. Hana's contraction claimed that delays were caused by JKP's failure to give timely site access and approvals. As a result, Hana said that they couldn't complete the work on time. JKP, on the other hand, accused Anas of project delays and withheld payments. The matter went to the education under CIPAA 2012, where the educator ruled in favor of Hanas. However, the JKP disagreed with the decisions and brought the case to court, challenging the validity of the education and raising concerns over procedure and fairness. This is how the case reached the court, not just a contract dispute but also as an issue involving legal process and administrative conduct. Now I will move to the legal issues that across in this case. The main question was whether JKP was justified in withholding payment or partially terminating the contract. The court had to decide if Hanas fulfilled their contractual obligations and whether JKP followed proper procedures under the contract for withholding or terminating work. Another major issue was whether the education process under CIPA 2012 was carried out properly, including whether the educator had judiciary and whether both parties were given a fair opportunity to present their case. There were also broader administrative law questions in this case. Since JKP is a government-linked company, the court has had to consider whether the public standards of accountability and natural justice applied. This includes whether decision made by JKP and the educator were fair, reasonable, and free from bias. Finally, the case raised the issue of judicial intervention, whether the court could set aside or review an educator's decision made under CIPAA, especially when the public interest and procedural fairness were stake.
Good morning, Miss. I'm engineer son of Raisankar from BLE 7A1. Today, I want to talk about a serious and deeply rooted issue in our society, the crime of drugs. This is not just a matter of legal violations or law enforcement. It's also a reflection of the ethical and moral health of our community. As seen in the poster, we are presented the visuals are a powerful representation of how drug-related crime touch every layer of society. From the authorities trying to enforce the law to the individuals trapped in the cycle of addiction or criminal activity. So, what exactly is a drug crime? In simple terms, it involves illegal possession, use, manufacturing, or distribution of substance like heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine, and other harmful drugs. But if we dig deeper, behind every drug related case is a human story. Some are driven by addiction, others by poverty or lack of opportunity, and some by greed. Therefore, when discussing drug crimes, we must not focus only on the act, but also understand the why behind it. This is where ethics and morality come into play. Ethics refer to rule the law that society imposes, while morality is shaped by individual value and conscience. Selling drug is ethically wrong and illegal. But can we say that every drug dealer is morally corrupted? What if someone is forced into due to depression, unemployment, or threats? This brings us to the role of society. Often drug crime are result of systemic failure, lack of education, poor job opportunity, broken homes, and mentally health issue. When people are failed by the system, some turn to drug as either a way to escape or as a means of income. That's why we cannot look a drug offender as a criminal. They are also product of neglect and abandonment. At the same time, we cannot ignore the victims of these crimes. Drug addicts, many of who started with casual use, end up physically and emotionally broken. Families suffer seeing their loved one destroyed, and communities live within fear and disorder. They are not just law and order issue. They are stories of human suffering. Law enforcement play a critical role, but even then, we face ethical dilemmas. Is this fair to punish a first-time drug user the same way we should punish a drug lord? Should we focus more rehabilitation than punishment? From a moral point of view, justice must be balanced with compassion. Harsh punishments may not solve the root problem, but offering help and support might prevent future crimes. Thus, ethics must go hand in hand with empathy. If we want to address the crime of drugs effectively, we must take no moral responsibility as a society. This means providing access to the education, creating employment opportunity, offering psychological support, and promoting awareness about the danger of drugs. We need to see the drug addiction not just a crime, but as a public health issue. Only then we can reduce the number of people who fall into this trap. Legal reform, community support, and ethical leadership must be work together to heal our society. In conclusion, the issue of drugs and crime is not black and white. It challenges us to rethink our value and priorities. It asks us whether we want to just punish or whether we want to solve. Every individual caught in the web of drugs represent as larger story of societal breakdown. But they also represent an opportunity to rebuild life, to restore hope, and to reclaim the moral consistence of community. Thank you.
Judgment of the court. The courts handled the case in three stages. At first, the High Court sided with Anna's construction, but the Court of Appeal disagreed, saying the adjudicator used a clause that was never mentioned in the original documents. Finally, the Federal Court agreed with the Court of Appeal. They ruled that adjudicators must stick to the issues raised in the claim, and that failing to do so is unfair and illegal. This case clearly shows how important it is to follow legal procedures and protect both sides' rights. Thank you.
To conclude the case of Anas Contraction Sdn Bhd and JKP Sdn Bhd highlights important legal principles at the intersection of contract law and administrative law. It's shown that even when a contract is between a private contractor and a government-linked company, both parties must strictly follow the terms of contraction and respect the legal procedures. In this case, JKP's position as a GLC meant that their actions were also subject to the public accountability and fairness. The court emphasized the importance of ensuring of procedural fairness, especially in adjudication under CIPA 2012, and reaffirmed that natural justice must be upheld even in technical disputes. This is a reminder to contractors and public agencies alike that clear documentation, timely communication, and compliance with the statutory mechanisms are critical, not just to protect the legal rights but to build trust in public-private partnerships. Thank you.